Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of The Fiction Room. Today's writing prompt comes to us from username Carlton St. Winky. The prompt is, the year is 2040, and you are the last smoker alive. The quit smoking ads get personal. Our first story today is written by Salt and Vinegar.
They had stopped selling cigarettes about 15 years ago. As soon as I had heard they were going to take them off the shelves, I ran to the nearest convenience store to buy cigarettes. There was a huge line, and they had just sold out as I got there. People were selling large quantities online, so I decided to buy up as many as I could. I had a lot saved up for my vacation this summer, but spent it all buying as many cigarette packs as I could. My wife was not happy in the least about that. Years of marriage counseling later, we were finally on good terms. Well, as good as a smoker's terms could be. About a year after cigarettes were stopped in production, I realized that my old habits wouldn't work. I then began allotting myself 3 cigarettes a day. It sucked immensely. The year was 2035, and everyone else had stopped smoking at this point. By this point, the world had caught wind of how many cigarettes I had left, and so ads began to show up everywhere I went. There was always an article in the newspaper titled, 2,543 days until our world is smoke-free, and so on, counting down the days until my stash ran out. Finally, someone broke into my house and tried to destroy my stash. But thankfully, I had thought ahead. I had a safe installed in my house to keep my cigarettes in. Every morning I would go downstairs and load 3 cigarettes into my special carrying pouch. The time was drawing near. The day I would finally run out of cigarettes. I went downstairs and loaded them up, my final 3. I stepped outside. It was a cool morning, about 65 degrees, and lit one up. All up and down my street were protesters, people screaming about me polluting the world. They all had signs yelling, 3 more! 3 more! I ignored them and took a long drag on my cigarette, savoring it. I got ready for work and drove off, half tempted to run some of the people over. I got to my job and there were even more protesters yelling at me. As I walked to my cubicle, I had many angry workers look at me. I heard mutterings of people saying they hoped I choked on my last cigarette. Lunchtime came, and I stepped out for my smoke. There were riot police there to stop all the people from hurting me. I felt important having all these people follow me around. I then got off work and drove home. My wife had my favorite meal for dinner. We sat and ate dinner in complete silence. I got up and put my plate in the sink. My wife just stared at me and said, "I hope you enjoy it." I stepped outside and lit up my last one. After I put it out, everyone starts cheering, "The earth is now smoke-free." I go back inside and retire for the night. The next morning when I wake up, I go downstairs and eat my breakfast, then decide to step outside for some fresh air. There are thousands of people standing as I step out, applauding me and congratulating me on the first day of my smoke-free life. I look at them and reach into my pocket. I pull something out and stick it into my mouth. I pull my lighter out and light it up. It's a cigarette. Everyone freaks out and starts screaming. My wife runs outside to see what the commotion is all about. She sees me standing there with a cigarette in my mouth and screams at me, "Where in the world did you get that from?" I calmly look at her and say, "You know that you can grow tobacco, right?" Let's just say I'm not married anymore.
Our second story is written by Admiral of the Blue.
Quit now, Dan,
said the man on the talking billboard, a finger pointing at the lone figure walking down the empty street. Empty due to everyone crossing to the other side to avoid him and his smog. Dan paused by a waste bin, small cardboard box in hand. He looked from the box to the bin and back again. Those across the street stopped and stared, ready to witness history being made. There was absolute silence as Dan lifted his hand as if to throw the packet towards the bin, all eyes now on him. Even the billboard advert man stopped to watch. He launched it. It hit the rim. There was a sharp intake of breath as it bounced into the air above the bin. It hit the rim on the other side. People held each other in nervous anticipation. The pack landed onto the other trash in the bin, and the crowd across the street erupted into thunderous applause and cheering, celebrating as if a great sporting event had been achieved. Little did they realize that Dan had taken a new packet from his pocket, removed the plastic, drew a long white stick out with his teeth, and ignited the end. As a large gray cloud left his lips, the crowd died down, realizing their premature celebration. There was a disappointed groan and a shuffling as daily activities resumed.
Dadgummit, Dan! You were so close!
Shouted the billboard. Our third story today is written by Three Beggars.
Friday morning. The last time I'd have to hear my alarm until, Monday. I turn off the buzzing of the alarm to not wake my wife. I kiss her on the cheek, and I go downstairs to start making my coffee. The office has a Keurig machine, but I've always thought you couldn't beat a pot of coffee in the morning. I step outside to smoke my first one of the day. My wife hates it. Really, everyone hates it. I put a cigarette to my lips, lit it up, and without even looking up, I know the neighbors are judging me. I look at the carton in my hand. I remember when they used to just have the Surgeon General's warning. I wonder what's on here today. Stop smoking, you selfish jerk, in big red letters. Cute. Less personal than I'm used to, but blunt. Not bad. The ads have been getting more and more hurtful, so something broad and unspecific was nice. I go in, grab a cup of coffee, and return to the patio. I turn the radio on, waiting to hear how traffic is for my drive into the city.
Well, the weather today looks fairly nice. Some clouds, but mostly sunny. Highs are going to be in the high 60s and low 70s. Traffic looking pretty clear as well. Some congestion downtown, but it is Friday after all.
The man on the radio laughs, apparently amused by his own joke.
Also, a big shout out to the last scumbag that still smokes. If you wanted to suck on something in your mouth, maybe start sucking on your thumb like the big baby you are.
He laughed again, and I laughed with him. That one was pretty good. Sucking my own thumb. Hadn't heard that one before. Oh well, time to shower and get ready for work. The guy on the radio was right. It is congested downtown. That's fine, though. I left early, so I have plenty of time to get there. No reason to be upset. I rolled down my windows, stuck in traffic a mile from my exit. I take out another cig, doing nothing but enjoying the day. I start to zone out when the person in the car next to me starts waving to get my attention. We're both crawling along the interstate, so I mouth, "What?" since I don't think he could hear me. Choosing to try to be heard, the man yells over the sounds of the highway.
Hey, ding dong! You trying to give me cancer? Do that somewhere else, you idiot!
I slowly wave him off, but then I see it. A huge billboard with my face on it. In my mouth, a cigarette. In small letters above my head, it says, "Only a dunce." And in huge letters on my forehead, "Would smoke blunts." From this distance, I can hardly see the small letters. But I bet if I tried hard enough, I could see my face and the big words for my home. I sigh and flick my ash onto the slowly moving road beneath me. Maybe I should cut back a bit. You know, for my health.
Thanks for listening to The Fiction Room. If you like what you heard, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. It really does help us. But for now, stay safe out there, everyone. See you next time.